Group guidance. Introduction. At first, it was thought that individual guidance was the only type of guidance and there was nothing like group guidance. By and by, when the scheme became popular, it was realized that all do not need individual type of guidance and many of them could solve their individual type problems. Even in groups, as many identical groups needed the similar type of guidance activities. For example, the whole group of 10th class students are interested in some type of occupational information. It was also felt that there could be some students who will need occupational information of the same type. At the same time, it was also realized that in case individual guidance is to be provided to all the students, not only but many counselors would be needed in every school, which may not be possible for the school to afford. All these types of thought process brought forward the concept group guidance. In fact, it was experimented that when some group guidance activities are organized, many of the problems of the students were solved as a result of group interaction with the counselor or with the help, while other students explored their own problems discussing it with counselor. Now, peculiar type of students came up in which it was realized systematically that all need guidance, but their needs are of different types and levels, so all of them be provided with this service. Individual guidance is not needed by everyone, and also that it cannot be organized for all. There are only a few who need individual guidance. Ultimately, individual is to make his own decisions, to solve his own problems. The counselor is only to help him to grow wiser so as to make their own decisions. In fact, there are many who had already made his own career plans. They only need to confirm them. In the same way, some make their own decisions and need only information for certain purposes which can be in groups. The whole field of occupational information can preferably be provided in groups. In this way, the concept of group guidance was conceptualized and also materialized in the practical performance of guidance process. In actual practice, it was felt that a good deal of labor is involved in making records for the purpose of guidance, which is not so much needed in the process of group guidance. By and by, the concept of group guidance gave birth of group counseling, in which more than one person can be counseled at the same time. Now, the position is that group guidance and group counseling are universally accepted in the world of guidance and practiced along with individual guidance program. However, the fact remains that the tools used in the process of group guidance are different in many aspects than the tools used in the process of individual guidance. Meaning and definitions. Group guidance refers to any phase of guidance program which can be carried out in groups instead of with individuals. However, the primary purpose of such group enterprise or activity is to assist each individual in the group to solve his problems and to make his adjustments. Group guidance has been defined by different experts in different phases. According to Jones, group guidance is any group enterprise or activity in which the primary purpose is to assist each individual in the group or to solve his problems and to make his adjustments. According to Crow and Crow, guidance in group situations usually is thought of as referring for those guidance services that are made available by school personnel to large or small groups of pupils. According to Robert Hopok, group guidance is any group activity undertaken for the primary purpose of facilitating or improving the total guidance program. According to Robert H. Knapp, if meaningful growth experiences are to be provided for a large number of children, the children must be grouped in some manner. Scope and problems of group guidance. The problems of group guidance are related to the following ways. First is the problems relating to educational plans, problems relating to home and school adjustment, problems relating to school situations, personality problems, problems relating to use of leisure time, problems relating to job findings, problem relating to economic and occupational activities, problems relating to hobbies. Purposes or objectives of group guidance. According to Kit and McCreasy, the objectives of group guidance are as under. The first is to assist in the identification of common problem, to provide information used in the solution of the problem, to provide opportunities for learning experiences that promote self-understanding. The fourth is to create situation for individual counseling. Purposes or objectives of group guidance according to Norris and Ziran. The first is to utilize the cooperative and sportive values of group situations so as to help students make better adjustment through the grasp of commonly needed information and the exploration of common problems. To create an awareness of the need for the availability of counseling and other guidance services. The third is to introduce students to the variety of life activities and the requirement, conditions and rewards of specific activities. Fourth is to help students to make realistic appraisal of their own aptitudes and abilities for various educational, occupational and social activities. Fifth is to provide students and counselors with information which is valuable in the process of counseling. Next is to help students to make wise educational, vocational, personal and social choices and adjustments. Next is seventh is to orient students to new school situations and employment market information. Next, to help students develop standards, values, attitudes and habits appropriate to life activities in which they are engaging or will be engaged. The last is to provide students with opportunities to share their experiences and problems with other students and to test and practice behavior in interpersonal relationships. Essentials of group guidance. The following major activities of group guidance are: the first is it should start with the invitational talk to welcome the group. The next is, as far as possible, homogeneous groups should be formed. Third is, the counselor must accept the student as his clients and have sympathetic attitude towards their problems. Next, he must take interest in the group and listen to them and their problems carefully. Fifth is, the counselor must have a keen scientific observation about the problem of the students and try to cluster them in a few groups. Sixth is, the counselor must have a problem solving and constructive attitude. Seventh is, he must establish a rapport with the group so that they came out with their problems. The last is, he must close the group guidance program in such an atmosphere that those who want to come to him for advice and individual counseling should be ready to do so. Advantages of group guidance. Group guidance method has the following main advantages. The first is efficient technique, discussion of common problems of students, provide better opportunity to counselors, more helpful to normal students, multiple contacts with students, leadership qualities, identification of common problems, exposure to real life situations, importance of group interaction, and the last is identification of individual counseling cases. The first is efficient technique. This is an efficient technique because it can be used to impart guidance to many persons within limited resources and with lesser efforts. Next is provide better opportunities to counselors. It provides opportunities to the counselor to provide counseling in groups will save his time for providing individual counseling to more numbers and in a better way. More helpful to normal students. Many students are such that they have decided their plans and needs its information only. Many of them are provided opportunities to do so in groups. Multiple contacts with students. In group counseling, many students are benefited by their contact with their equals. They get chance to more link up with different type of students. Leadership qualities. During the process of group guidance, students learn it to put up their point of view and got clarification about them. They learn the ethics of discussion and intellect to consolidate their ideas, which help them to develop leadership qualities. Identification of common problems. In group guidance, many problems get enlightened and note that many students have the identical problems and are encouraged to force them. The counselor also get enlightened about such problems in a systematic way. Exposure to real life situations. In group guidance, the problems of the real life are thrashed out in real life situations, which in individual counseling, the problems are discussed in hypothetical situations and clarifies his conduct. Importance of group interaction. Students working in groups and involved in social interaction are less expectant of guidance activities from the guidance worker or counselor. Identification of individual counseling cases. While working with students in groups, the counselor will be able to identify in a better way those who need help individual counseling. Limitations of group guidance. The following are the limitations of group guidance. First is different ideologies. There is different points of view about group guidance. One school of guidance regrets to call it as guidance and says that it is mere wastage. In place of it, the counselor should devote his time to individual cases. on the other hand, some think it as useful. In this way, it is looked upon from different ideologies. Lack of leadership. If the counselor is not efficient, then he is not able to promote leadership, to provide leadership in which all students come out with their problems and only bold students are benefited. Lack of facilities. Group guidance activities need many types of facilities, that is, many rooms to divide the students in groups of heterogeneous types, many officers to discuss their problems in different groups, etc. Lack of training. Our counselors are not trained in this technique and as such are not enlightened about these techniques. Once they get into it, they accept so busy that they do not get time for individual guidance. Moreover, group guidance is not the cup of tea of everybody. Lack of support. In the present world, our thinkers, educationists and psychologists are of the opinion that such guidance is useful only when a lot of information and facilities are available to go in for it in groups. Such facilities are not available in our educational system for the time being. So, group guidance does not support to prepare students for it. Disagreement among teachers. Group guidance can be useful only when all the teachers are also able to discuss the problems of the students who they come to them for assistance. All the teachers neither get time for it and also nor interested in doing so, as it takes away most of their time. In this way, there is lot of variation in the teachers to go in for it or not. Techniques of group guidance. Guidance through group activities includes all those forms of group activities that are undertaken in groups or in class. Group guidance includes the following: assemblies, career talks, career conferences, field trips, orientation classes, group discussion, audiovisual aids, home rooms or tutorials, career weeks, excursions, films, cultural activities, occupational survey, parent-teacher meets, radio talks. First is assemblies. In schools, morning assemblies are organized in schools in which some specialist can be made to deliver some talk on some aspect of career planning, such as career in Navy, career in Army and career in nursing, etc. Some of the students will be able to solve these problems of their own in this way. Career talks. Career talks are organized in the school class or in the employment exchange, in which some officers of some department, that is agriculture, medicine, engineering, etc., are invited to deliver career talks to disseminate information about the jobs existing in these departments and ways and means to go in for them.